Gear Seekers, I'm Nick. We've had a lot of people asking us in the comment section and on our Discord to check out some of the cheaper X570 options, since a lot of the higher end boards can get very, very expensive. We decided we'd see if we could actually start to get our hands on some of these boards and start showing you them over the next few weeks. In this video, we're checking out the Gigabyte X570 Gaming X that supports Ryzen 2000 and 3000 CPUs and a motherboard that won't burn a giant hole in your pocket. Let's check it out. Just before we start this video, I just want to make it super clear that our motherboard videos are not reviews. They're just overviews so you can get an idea of the feature set with these boards and what physically comes in the box when you buy a brand new motherboard. We are not doing VRM analysis or board teardowns or anything like that. There are plenty of other channels that cover all of that stuff and we're not one of them, so just don't ask why we don't do it, because yeah, that's not what we do here. Okay, let's check out the X570 Gaming X. Alright, let's check out that Gigabyte X570 Gaming X. It's going to be a little bit of a shorter motherboard video than you would typically see from us, because there's just not a lot going on with this motherboard. So yeah, let's dive right in. First up, we've got an M.2 standoff. Now this screws into the motherboard so you can mount an M.2 to your motherboard. This board has two M.2 slots, but the screws are already in the first one. Okay, now we've got some SATA cables. This is for your spinning rust or your 2.5-inch SSDs, so you can transfer all of the things. Next up, we've got this commitment to your warranty from Gigabyte. This is the Australian version. I'm sure it's similar in your own region as well. Okay, what else have we got in here? Oh, yes, the driver disc, yes. You guys know how I feel about these discs. Just give us USBs. Okay, and the last thing is the manual. Like I said, there's not a lot going on in this box. Now this manual will be good to just keep handy. It'll help you configure your BIOS and do all of that kind of stuff. Okay, let's get the board out and take a bit of a closer look at the board itself. Okay, you got your front panel audio connector, a 3-pin 5-volt addressable RGB connector, a 12-volt RGB connector, the Q flash button for flashing your BIOS with the USB port on the back of the board, two USB 2.0 headers, there's also two USB 3.0 headers, and last but not least, right up the end, is the front panel connectors for all your lights and switches and all that stuff. There's 6 SATA ports that you can connect up your spinning rust or your 2.5-inch SSDs up to. There's a 24-pin power connector to send all that juice to your fresh new motherboard. There's a 12-volt RGB header and another 3-pin 5-volt addressable RGB header. Along the top of the board, we got a CPU fan header, that's PWM, and there's also an additional one for something like an AIO. There's an 8-pin EPS power connector on the other side and another PWM fan connector. Because this is X570 and for Ryzen 3000, it supports PCIe Gen 4, and then as you can see here are the selection of your PCIe slots. There's also two M.2 slots on this motherboard. This is the lower one. It actually has the screw pre-installed, and there is also another one above the top PCIe slot. I'm just going to take the heatsink off so you can get a little bit of a close look. And there it is in all of its glory. Above the heatsink for the M.2 slot, there's also another PWM fan connector. Because this is X570, it has an actively cooled chipset. I'm not sure how loud this chipset fan is. I haven't actually used this board yet, but we will be doing something with this board very, very soon. It has a standard AM4 socket that supports Ryzen 2000 and 3000 CPUs and standard cooler mounting. And if we flip the board over to the back side, you'll actually notice that it's got a standard backplate as well. So yeah, there's nothing fancy or nothing different going on. It's pretty standard AM4 stuff. Because it's 2019, we're going to talk about the VRMs. It's got a 10+ 2-phase digital VRM setup. It's got more than adequate cooling for the VRMs and pretty solid heat sinks to go along with it. The motherboard supports DDR4 RAM. It's got 4 slots that support RAM up to 4000 MHz. Let's take a look at that rear I/O. It's got 2 PS2 ports, an HDMI port, all USB 3.0 and a BIOS flash port, which is the white colored one. It's got gigabit Ethernet and a pretty basic audio interface. You'll also notice that even on this lower end X570 board, it also has an integrated I/O shield. If you're interested in grabbing the Gigabyte X570 Gaming X, it's going for around about $169 or around about 279 Australian dollars. If you like this video, please like and subscribe. If you didn't like this video, you know what to do. Tell us what you hated about it. Once again, thank you so very much for watching. I'm your boy Nick with Gear Seekers. You peek, we seek. And it's nice to get our hands on some of the lower end boards to see possibly what B550 will have to offer later down the line. Thanks for watching.